This is my 1964 Pontiac GTO. It used to be a drag car. It ran up in Brainerd and another drag strip, I forget the name, I'll find out here in a second, but it run from the 1970s to the early 90s. And it's a full-blown drag car. It's a roller, but I mean, it's got the battery in the trunk. It's got the fuel cell still in it. It's even got an emergency shut-off. As for interior, it's got Luan door panels, block-off plate, and I found some of the old ET slips. Here is one of the old ET slips. As you can see, it ran 12.5 and a quarter mile at 107 miles an hour, making this car a pretty fast one back in its time. Well, I got it unloaded off the trailer. Kind of a weird cut here. It's actually a week later. I've been busy, but I mean, I still got the car and I like it, and I'm buying up parts for it. And I think I've decided that I'm going to rebuild my 66 Model 389. I'm just going to throw a set of rings in it. It's only got like 20,000 miles on it. Needs some rings because they're stuck. But I'm going to throw it in this car. I also got me a set of headers for it. But I got a Lanati cam. I forget the specs on it. But it's a decent sized cam. And with them headers and the Performer RPM intake, it ought to run decent. I pulled the diff cover off this car, and it has 390 gears with a locker. Eventually, I'm going to probably build a 500 or 600 horsepower 455 for it, because I got a pretty good cam that would get me close to there, a big solid lift cam. But I really like this car. It's got a little bit of rust in it, but nothing that I can't fix. And I mean, they reproduce almost every panel in this car. But after looking at it some more, I mean, here's some of my spare parts. I got a spare center console with it, some exhaust, that's just some universal stuff. A couple other parts. I don't have any gauges for this car. I mean, I took this little aluminum plate is blocks that off. It's just got some wing nuts. I took it off just to see what the wiring is. This is where all your gauges mount. I'd like to find some rally gauges for this, but I might just do regular Tempest ones. I don't know, it just depends. But I'm gonna have to get a wiring harness for this car. I found one, an original out of a 6-cylinder Tempest, front to back. But I found these Chinese ones for like 150 bucks that you wire in. The only thing I don't like about it is it takes the new square style fuses. But I mean, it still looked like it would be halfway decent. And it would be new, but I don't gotta have no wiring harnesses. I mean, wires don't really go bad. I mean, they can, but it don't really happen. It comes with an old style Hearst competition shifter. This is the old style that clips in. They don't bolt in like the one I just put in my Star Chief, but y'all haven't seen that yet because I'm still working on the video. Come with a factory GTO automatic shifter. It's got these shift solenoids from where they have raced this thing with a 2-speed power glide, and I believe they had a 455 in it when they was racing it, from what I have been told. I mean, they've done some race stuff to it. I mean, like this here is their deck panel here, but I'm gonna take all that crap out. This car does got a little bit of rust. It's not too bad. It's got a little bit around the back glass, which is typical on these cars. And I won't even have to buy a patch panel to fix this. But I want to put a trunk fan in the car because they cut it up for the fuel cell. I'll show y'all that here. And around here, it's got a little bit of rust. I think it would just be easier to replace this panel. It's the filler deck panel. I don't think they're too bad. But, so the trunk gutters are a little rotten on the back there. And that would just fix that. And the trunk gutters on everything else here actually look pretty good. There's my trunk pan. See, I mean, I could work with it, but they cut the center of it out. And I found one on Amazon for right at $285, and it would come with new fuel tank braces because I want to put a regular fuel tank back in this car and move the battery back up front, because I cut the fuel tank braces on this with a cutting torch as I was looking. But this car was last drove and raced in the 90s. Here's a picture of it back in the day when it was still this maroon color. It used to be called the Mountain Goat. If you look closely, the Mountain Goat also has the same exact Kragers that my car still has on it. This is actually a pretty well-known car. A lot of people actually, I posted some stuff on it online, and a lot of people knew the guy who raced this car. But this is one reason how I know that this thing was last raced in the 90s. I know this is hard to see here, but it says Jar Jar Binks on it, right? But this is the episode 1 Phantom Menace. This came out in the 90s. And I mean, it's from KFC, which is a cool cup, but that was in the trunk. It's still in the trunk. I ain't cleaned it up yet. I need to vacuum all this stuff out, clean it up. And I do have the hood hinges for it. But just the old lettering on this car is cool. And then Firestone, Racers for Christ, Hooker headers, Cheetah shifters, I mean Firestone, crane cams. I mean, overall, it's a nice car. And I do believe this is a factory 4-speed car, because it does have the pedals hanging, and I thought that was odd. But also, it's got the factory firewall plates for a 4-speed. I mean, why would you do that if you're just building a cheap drag car? Because, I mean, they even made their own wiring harness here. You got your fans, you can cut the alternator off. You got this tack, a fan, fuel pressure gauge, headlights, taillights, fuel pump. I don't know what some of this stuff is, but see, Tom Truluck is the guy who owned this car and raced it. There's actually an article about him on the internet. But here's his nameplate. I will keep all this stuff, but I'm gonna probably put it back stock inside of here. Put a new headliner and stuff and rip this one down. But I mean, you can tell it's 90s. It's got the old lane changer mirror. And I'd say this car probably didn't have rally gauges from the factory, just because he put them in there, but there's no telling. And I actually got the brakes to pump up, because I was stuck and I filled them up with brake fluid. Bled them, and I kicked the pedal and got them unstuck. But actually, I mean, the master cylinder is leaking. That's not the factory one to this car. That would have come with a single pot, but I'm gonna match it up or rebuild that one or something. But I was looking, and this car even has line lock on it from the factory, or not from the factory, but from where they was racing it. They put line lock on it, and I actually contacted one of the dudes because I had a lead to him. And he built this line lock and said he won one of the championships or something with it. The way it would work, they'd use it as a trans brake too, because this was raced as automatic in later years. So you could do your burnout, lock all 4 brakes down, hold the car back, and when you let off the pedal, just take off, which I thought was pretty cool. The car's factory manual brakes and manual steering. Kind of makes it look like a factory, like they wanted to race this car from the factory. I don't know. But Tom Truluck had 2 GTOs, both post cars like this one. And one of them was metallic blue with center lines. And I think this could be that car, because it has been painted quite a few times. And it has been that same shade of blue before. Because, let's see if I can find a spot here. The car's factory maroon, I believe, but it's been painted copper metallic. It's been painted a different shade of red. It's been painted blue. I don't know if this door is off this car, because it's painted turquoise metallic, which I might even paint this car that color. That's my favorite color on these cars. But you got blue. It's a metallic blue. You got some reds, all kinds of different colors on this car. If you look all over it, there's some real pretty red. I do like that color. There's some more blue right there. But I really like this thing. Here's another picture of the big deal Tom Truluck's GTO. He said he had 2 of them, and I do believe that this quite possibly is my car also, because that is Tom Truluck's GTO. Tom was also a chaplain for Racers for Christ. The lower quarter panels need a little bit of work. I mean, there's Bondo in there. And there's some spray foam and stuff in here, because this has been like this for a long time. But I can buy these to right here. Or I might make something. I'm undecided yet. because that's like $300, I think. The wheel houses are pretty good. I mean, there's a hole right there, but I can fix most of that without even having to buy a patch panel, because I mean, it's just little stuff. But the car is pretty solid. The floor pans are actually really good. There's only one spot that's been patched, but I think the drive shaft or something come up, and that's why it was replaced, because I know they put a drive shaft loop in it later because there's a couple dents from where drive shaft or something had come out of it. But I'm gonna start collecting up stuff for this car and build it soon. And I do have the hood. I don't know if y'all seen that in the video. I just took it off because I've been fooling with it. But I'd like to take the front end off, fix some of the rust in here. There ain't a whole lot. Paint all this, and I'm thinking about pulling the car off the body when I go to do it right. But this is a true 5N car, which means it is a true GTO, and I'm thinking about having the PHS done on it, because I do think that it's a factory 4-speed, but that would tell me some of the other stuff about it. Because see, here's the factory red here too, and I believe that is the factory color. But I mean, let's see if I can get up under here. The slicks he put on there don't hold there too long. I got the original ones that it was raced with. But up under here, I mean, it's pretty solid. It's factory undercoated. There's a drive shaft loop. Still got the cross member in it. And it was raced with an electric poly fuel pump. I actually heard a story from one of them fellas I was talking to about this car. Said that when he was racing it slung a rod, because back then you couldn't get forged rods. And it slung a rod, and the starter flew off of it because it got knocked off by the rod. And he just kept racing it down the track, and it actually caught on fire and about burnt the car up. I'm gonna spend about a day cleaning this up where it won't rust more. But I'd like to just do the car full force, but I think I'm just gonna throw a motor in it, open headers, and that 389 I built probably about 420 horsepower maybe. It'd be fun, and maybe put a harness on the car and just take it to cruisings and stuff. And maybe drag race it some. But I want to fix it right eventually, but you can't just, I want to enjoy it for a little bit first, you know what I mean? But here's my car. Thank y'all for watching.